Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports, an association locally in the capital region with Godzilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts, and to my right, there, I got it this time,
That's right.
is a man who is who doesn't scream, who takes some time always to scream at his linemen when they're effing up. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I live by Tom Brady's credo. We're going to get into it later in the show. And I do have to shout out a little. If you are the driver of a black Hyundai Accord or Honda Accord on the way home, you handled a dent that you received in the back of your car like a genius. I was driving behind this person, and there was a dent on the back of their car, and they had put a sticker. I'm assuming after the dent, they had put a sticker or decal on the back of their car that was a chalk outline of Wile E. Coyote right where the dent was. That is some genius.
That's excellent. That is most excellent. Well, we're going to get into things in just a moment, but before we do that, I need to remind you about our social media channels, which you're watching are right down here on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No Creds REQ, Facebook.com. If you've already discovered it, Facebook.com, leave a like. Also engage with us in the comments. I'm going to remind you of that in a second. So Facebook.com/No Creds REQ. On YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, also give us a like, thumbs up. Engagement is always preferred. It's really, really great if you have engagement. And if you also subscribe and hit the notification bell, that way you'll know when we're live or I've uploaded a video. So that'll be really, really appreciated on the social media side. On the podcast side, our home base is Spreaker, but you can also find us on various assorted podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Basically, again, wherever you podcast, you'll find No Credentials Required. Also, it would be very, 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 very preferable if you let the rating and a review. 5-star rating is always preferred for this. If you think this program is excellent, most excellent, and if you leave a review or a comment after the show, and it's PG-13, and if I find it hilarious, if I find it funny, I might even read it on the air. So if you're watching, if you're watching right now, we'd appreciate your algorithmic engagement comments. Engage with us during the show. Leave a comment. I might read it. And we've got a partnership with In the Clutch. They're our partners for our algorithmic engagement comments. So, Dustin, I know you love that sound. You find it very satisfying. You find it very soothing. So I'm gonna play it again because it's just the most satisfying thing in the world. Come on.
Podcast before I get all, fired up.
All right. So we're going to start things off this week with a wrap up of NFL Week 6. And as soon as I get done typing, the banner, of course, this week's wrap up presented by insert sponsor here. And as
we're looking.
Hey, if you're a sandwich maker and you make wraps, also, inquire within. So
also, IHOP, you have a location right down the street from my house. Let's work something out here. Come on, sponsor. We're not even looking for money. We just want, let us know that we can have unlimited pancakes or something.
And you know what? I also wouldn't mind a Chinese place or a Thai place with egg rolls, spring rolls. Come on. I mean, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do some wrap-ups. So we're going to talk about Week 6 in the NFL, and we're going to start with our biggest upset, and we might get into a little debate on here. And we appreciate you joining in if you're watching for our just engage with us and just be part of the conversation. But Dustin, what do you think was the biggest upset of Week 6 in the NFL?
Oh, well, I think we're both going to be in a New York state of mind for this one, but I will
Mm.
tell you, I think the biggest upset in the NFL this week was the New York Football Giants taking down the Baltimore Ravens. You had mentioned on the show last week that the Giants defense has some players. You don't really know who they are, but they are playing very well as a unit right now, and they shut down one Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore offense. Now I know that the Baltimore offense is not exactly a juggernaut right now. Rashad Bateman was out for this game, if memory serves.
Mhm.
They're having some issues at the running back position. I don't think J.K. Dobbins is fully healthy yet, by my eye. But still, shutting down Lamar Jackson, the Giants are really proving something to me to start this season. They are 5-1, which I don't think anybody expected
No,
this year.
no, nobody expected that, and the Giants did do a very superior job. They sacked Lamar Jackson twice. Dexter Lawrence had a sack. Kayvon Thibodeau had a sack as well. He also had 3 tackles, and the secondary did a great job too. Uh, Dane Belton had a pass defended. Julian Love had 2 passes defended. Dexter Lawrence also was credited with a pass defended. So this team, they came to play. They also uh, forced a fumble. I think it was Thibodeau who forced a fumble, and Leonard Williams recovered it. So this defense came to play today, and Baltimore in Week 1 the uh, came to MetLife and had their way with the New York Football Jets, the Gotham Green. I'm sorry, the Gotham City Football Club, known as the New York Jets. And this week was a different story. The Giants, it was a back and forth affair, and the Giants happened to score 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and sealed the game with the I believe they had the interception to seal the game. That was by let's see, who was that by?
Let me see if
Julian Love. So Giants, yeah, that's they're definitely I definitely call that an upset for sure. But for me, on the flip side, and I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here again. I gushed over them last night on Victory Monday, but I believe the Jets beating the Packers was the biggest upset of the week, because coming into this game, you didn't know what kind of you didn't know what the Packers were going to be. The Packers are kind of a weird team right now, with uh, a lot of I wouldn't say turmoil, but they got great defense. Let's put it this way: they only allowed 3 points to the Jets in the first half, but in the second half, Jets scored 24 points, and a couple of those came off of one of those came off the special teams, block punt and a scoop and score. And Brees Hall, man, he's up for 2 awards this week in the NFL. He's up for Rookie of the Week, get that nice shiny belt. He's also nominated for FedEx Ground Player of the Week too. So he had 116 yards, had a touchdown, did a Lambeau leap with the Jets fans who are in the crowd, and I'm I'm on cloud 9 in terms of my team, but
Oh
also
yeah.
you gotta give a ton of credit to the defense. They sacked Aaron Rodgers 4 times. Leonard Williams had 2 sacks, also had 2 tackles for a loss, and they hit. They were credited with 9 quarterback hits on Aaron Rodgers too. And I said on Snowman in the morning on my coffee with McCarthy time on Snowman in the morning, I said, no, Packers fans, you are not having a an ayahuasca trip. That actually did happen. The Jets did beat the Green Bay Packers. So, I also took some time. I had a little bit of sympathy for a friend of mine. I did wellness on my buddy Dave, who's a
Yeah,
big Packers
wellness
fan.
check.
I had to do a wellness check for him, make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
And actually, it's funny. Before I sent that message, he wrote in our private chat with a group of other friends. Yeah, the Jets banged my mom.
Zach Wilson showed up. But I will say, and and all credit to your Jets. I know you and I both had some words for Coach Robert Saleh to start the season,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe he heard us because since then, the defense really has picked it up. Some of those some of those high draft picks are really starting to pay off for the New York Jets. I mean, we all
Yeah,
knew that Sauce Gardner was going to be talented. Brees Hall looks like a game changer on offense. What a running back he is looking to be,
yeah,
and also um, Michael is it Michael Carter? He's also done well. But I think this backfield is Brees Hall's moving forward. But the reason that I kind of respectfully disagree with you is I just think the Packers are a worse team than the Ravens this year. The
mm,
Packers, something is going on. I said it a few weeks ago. They do not look good. And I know that Aaron Rodgers doesn't think the Packers are in panic mode, but I think
no.
most of Cheesehead Nation would disagree with you, especially Sauce putting on the slice of cheese there and walking out of Lambeau Field with
Yeah.
the win.
How about some cheese sauce at the end? After the game, it was funny was that I had heard a little bit after when Sauce was going in the locker room, Alan Lazard actually
Yes, he
just
knocked it off.
slapped the cheese head off Sauce Gardner's head. So I don't know if it's a little bit of a playfulness there or a little bit of a competition. Alan Lazard, he's a free agent in a couple of seasons. Might make his way over to the AFC, and you might see that rivalry going on. But
Yeah, who
Lazard
knows?
was held pretty well in check for
Mhm.
the entire game, as
He
was
was.
Romeo Dobbs. So, but yeah, the Giants. Let's right now it's a good if you're a New York sports fan, period, whether it be a New York Metro team or a team of the team or a fan of the team out in Western New York.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a, or if you're a college football fan, I gotta give some credit where credit's due here. The Syracuse Orangemen, they're 6-0, and they're they're playing Clemson this week, and Clemson, I think they have an opportunity to knock off Clemson in Death Valley, but they're 6-0 as well. So if you're a New York football fan, you're on cloud nine right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the best. Geez, this is the best collective start for the Giants and Jets. I would say, just off the top of my head, I would say at least in a decade.
Yeah.
Because there have been a couple years. Like I know the Giants got out to a decent start, maybe in 2010, 2012, or something.
Mhm.
I can't remember, but the Jets, the teams have never been firing on all cylinders. And as a New York football fan, for you, Ryan, it's got to feel great that it's October and the Jets are still very much in it. You know.
Yeah, let's put it this way: all three McCarthy brothers, we're all happy right now. Between Jim with the Giants, Jeremy with the Buffalo Bills, and me with the Jets, we're all super happy right now.
Oh yeah.
We're on a we're on a good football trip right now. And actually, we got some comments that came in from Taylor Lattimore, another Godzilla Media podcast, also one of my mentors at a certain radio station, which will go unnamed. Back in the day when I had an internship, he said Jets over Packers is a close second for an upset. Yeah, it's close. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Sometimes they're
Mhm.
wrong. And he also asks, are the Jets elite? That remains to be seen. TBD, to be
Yeah.
determined. I think
Yeah.
if I think if they beat Denver, they either upset Buffalo or they keep it competitive against Buffalo and they beat New England, they're definitely in the conversation.
Yeah, if they keep it competitive against Buffalo and they beat New England, I will side with you. I don't really, not to discount the Broncos, but oh boy, I feel like every week we talk about the Broncos on this show, just
Yeah. And
mystified.
Taylor Greasy said Denver's so bad though.
Yeah, that's why I would not credit a win over the Broncos as grounds for being okay. The Jets are in elite company now. The Jets are a team in my mind. The Jets are a team on a hot streak and on a rise. But I
Mhm.
don't know if I can. They've got to beat some more teams for me to say that they are elite.
Yeah, and I've heard all the excuses by the media over the last couple of weeks. Oh, the Jets beat two backup quarterbacks. They beat a rookie quarterback. Listen, they beat one of the best quarterbacks in the
Yeah.
game over the past decade and his team on Sunday. So the list of excuses is starting to run out, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just accept it. Accept
Yes,
it.
and it
As
was a
as
big
Macho
win.
Man Randy said, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it was a big win. It was a big win. Like I said, the only reason I gave the edge to the Giants is because I think the Packers they're in some trouble.
And as the Macho Man Randy Savage once said, you don't have to like it, but you have to accept it.
Oh
And by the
man.
way, the comment section is brought to you by InTheClutch.com. Use promo code NoCreds at checkout for 10% off your order. You can get yourself a t-shirt like this one I'm wearing right now. Escape from New York.
A very fitting shirt for the show.
Yes, yes. As the Yankees are currently in the top of the ninth, and they're winning 5-1, and Wandy Peralta is trying to close things out and help the Yankees move on. Actually, got 2 outs left, so the Indians
The
Guardians are down to the
Guardian.
last batter. God,
Yeah.
I sound like Ron Darling and John Sterling there. So I had to accept that fact.
Yeah,
So let's go over to the biggest disappointment of the week, and I'll start off this part. The Buccaneers losing to the Steelers, and I think we're going to be in accord with this one. The Buccaneers losing to the Steelers. Listen, there was no excuse for the Buccaneers being as good as they should be
yes.
to go into Pittsburgh and lay an absolute egg, and they had to actually rally. They knocked out Kenny Pickett,
Yeah.
and then Mitch Trubisky comes in and guides the Steelers to a win.
He
And
does.
yeah, and the with the fact that the Buccaneers had to rally and they tried to tie the score. They got within two, and they tried to go to the 2 point, tried for the 2 point
Yeah, the
conversion,
failed 2-point
and they
conversion.
failed the 2 point conversion. They wound up losing, and then Tom Brady losing his cool
Mhm.
to and throwing a fit at his offensive line. Let's just put it this way, I know Tom Brady's having a rough time in his personal life right now, although I think he's having the best life because he got the best life because he has Wednesdays off. He doesn't have to be at practice on Wednesdays. On was it Friday or Saturday night? He was in New York City uh, for a wedding for Robert Kraft. So somehow they still have a good
Yeah,
relationship,
great relationship.
and he takes a private jet to Pittsburgh on Saturday night, and he comes with the team, and all of a sudden Sunday comes along, and they're having a bad game, and he's rimming them out, and it's like, dude, like
Yeah.
like you need to spend more time with your football family.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I
that's why
agree.
it's rough.
I agree. He is coming off, and I'll have some thoughts later in the show that I will save for Tom Brady. So Tom, I know you're watching, and I know you're quaking in your boots now. But to sum it up quickly, I would say he's coming off like a petulant child. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
he's throwing a tantrum. That's what he's doing. He wants to take his bike and go home. He should have stayed home. He's still one of the greatest ever. There's no getting around that. But Tom, I have some more words for you at the towards the end of the show.
As we talked about Tom Brady, the Yankees have just clinched punched their ticket to Houston as they win 5-1 over the Cleveland Guardians. Sorry, I'm still adjusting. I'm still adjusting, guys. Uh,
You'll get
but
there.
uh,
You'll get there. We all
but
will.
you'll see Gleyber Torres actually get the last out, and he's doing this. He's rocking the baby.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, that was the only pick in our MLB picks that I got right. I said the
Yeah.
Guardians would play him tough, but I ultimately believed in the Yankees advancing. But every other thing was wrong that I said.
And we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but we're gonna move on in our NFL coverage to the most entertaining game. And Dustin, I'm gonna hang it over to you. In your mind, which game this week was the most entertaining in your mind?
Well, I will say, and it wasn't because it was not for the reasons that I thought it was going to be, but I will say the most entertaining game is in my mind, was the Bills versus the Chiefs. I was riveted. I saw large chunks of this game on Red Zone because in the late window there weren't as many games, and I was just very intrigued, mostly to see. We all know that Andy Reid and the Chiefs. They have the offensive juggernaut that they have been, and for me, Leslie Frazier and his defense holding the Chiefs to the amount of points that they did is a minor miracle. I mean,
Yeah.
not poor choice of
Mhm.
words on my part, but I don't know what else to call it. That the defense kind of shut them down to the degree that you can shut the Chiefs down, and I was very intrigued, and I did want to see if, well, first of all, Travis Kelsey is just an ageless wonder at the tight end position. But I wanted to see if Mahomes could come back or if the Bills would adjust their game plan. And it appears they did, and it was a close game, and it came down to the wire a little bit on CBS, but I was just very entertained, and I think it was Tony Romo on the broadcast who said, Jordan had to get through the Pistons to get there, and to me,
Mhm.
that felt like an apt comparison. It felt like the Bills exercised some demons this Sunday. It'll be remains to be seen whether there'll be a rematch between the teams further down the line.
Yeah.
But I was very entertained by that.
No, that was my actually Bills Chiefs was my prediction for the AFC Championship. So you're definitely right, and as a great comparison, a contrast with the last dance,
Mm.
and with Jordan saying we had to get through the Pistons to get to the first championship, and if they meet in the postseason, that's where you see the true baton being passed.
Yeah.
And if the Bills can beat the Chiefs, whether it be at Arrowhead or it be at Rich Stadium in late January, that will be the test that they have to pass.
Mhm.
But this was a good quiz for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
This is a good test for a quiz for you kids watching. If you're in school. My most entertaining game of the week, and just kind of looking at the score line because I didn't get to watch Red Zone that much. I was at my parents doing some projects there, but
Mhm.
the Saints and Bengals, and from what I understand, the Saints offense, their quarterback, their wide receivers right now, they're playing their second string.
Oh, yeah.
They're playing
Yeah.
the second string. Andy Dalton, the red rifle, Andy
Yeah.
Dalton. He threw a couple of touchdowns in this game, and the Saints had the Bengals number for a bit, but in the last
Yes,
two
they did.
minutes, you see Joe Burrow throw that touchdown pass, and Jamar Chase take care of the rest and get the win for the Bengals in the last 2 minutes. So that was a very, to me, in my mind, that was my most entertaining game of the week, just based on how everything looked. And I have an NFL subscription, NFL Plus now, so I can watch the condensed game a little bit later.
Oh, nice.
I was
Okay.
watching, and I know Taylor's watching right now. He said the Colts got a big win this week. They did get a big win this week.
Yes, they did.
And you can thank Matt Ryan in his almost 400 yards passing against the Jaguars. He
Yes.
also says, "Yes, go Yanks." You got that right,
Yes.
Taylor. Go
Yes,
Yanks.
go Yankees. We are a Yanks podcast here.
Yes,
But
we are.
I will say, Taylor, that the Colts got a big win this week, and they did, but I was baffled by Doug Peterson not calling a timeout at towards the end of that game, and then calling a timeout when there was less time and stopping the clock. It was not great clock management, in my uneducated opinion. I think I audibly said on the couch, I was drinking a beer, and I said, "What are you doing, Doug Peterson? Why would you not call a timeout and then wait and then call a timeout?" It made no sense to me. Um,
0 cents.
but
0 cents at all. But we're gonna move on to the most notable performance. And Dustin, you touched up on it in the most entertaining game of the week with the Bills and the Chiefs. And the Buffalo Bills defense, in my mind, had the most notable performance of the week. And I'm going by team. I'm not going by player this week. I'm going by team.
Hmm.
And this Bills defense, they harassed uh they harassed Patrick Mahomes. And what's interesting is that there were two key moments in the game on the first and last drives of the Kansas City Chiefs. The first drive by Kansas City Chiefs was right after they forced a fumble. They the Chiefs defense forced a fumble out of Josh Allen, and the Chiefs recovered. Chiefs go on a 14 play drive, and they get within the red zone of the Buffalo Bills. And you think Mahomes is going to pull off this amazing throw.
Yeah.
He scrambles around, he throws in the end zone, and he's picked. It's picked off, and the Bills wind up taking the ball back. And that was one big difference in the game. And the other big turnover in the game came at the end. So it's kind of bookended turnovers by the Bills against the Chiefs, where the Bills had just taken a lead. They just scored a touchdown,
Hmm.
and you say to yourself, "I've seen this movie before. They left too much time on the clock for Mahomes."
Yeah.
But full credit to Leslie Frazier's defense. They learned their lesson from last year, from last
Yes,
year's
they did.
playoffs. They did not play prevent defense. It only took one play for them to end this game with Taron Johnson's pick. And it was a great throw by Mahomes, but you see Taron Johnson just jump that route in front of Sky Moore, picks off that ball, gets a couple yards, and then the Bills run out the clock. Game over. So that was my most notable performance of the week. Dustin, what's your most notable performance?
Well, I'm going full homer on this one because I also saw large chunks of the Seattle and Arizona game. And first off, I want to my notes. Man, I started writing in my notes. I said Arizona's or Seattle's defense is so bad. I said because Arizona had not scored points in any first quarter this year, and it took them, I think, what was it, 3 minutes to drive down the field against the Seahawk defense and kick a field goal. And I'm thinking, oh man, here we go. But the defense played probably their best game of the season. Now, I still think they're not great, but my most notable performance comes from that game, and it's mostly because I'm just very excited about the future. He was a high draft pick. A lot of people scratched their heads when the Seahawks picked him. They said another pick on a running back. Well, this kid, Kenneth Walker the third,
Mm,
he looks
Michigan
legitimate.
State. Michigan State. Yeah.
He shot down the field on the opening drive of the game, and I think had like a 65-yard run. He looks electric. And he ended up with 97 rush yards, had a couple receptions and a touchdown. So not like a huge performance, but he looks like the real deal. Looks like he can play at the NFL level. And just another side note about this game, I've got to doff my cap to you. You said that you did not have faith in Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coach. And I have to agree with you. He made some decisions in this game. He kept going for it on fourth down. And I'm like, what do you why are you doing this? And the only reason that Arizona scored outside of that field goal, they had a touchdown on a boneheaded play from Michael Dixon in the end zone. He was going to punt it, and he must have thought that the punt was going to be blocked because he just decided to hike the ball back into his stomach and just kind of fall on it. And then he fumbled it, and then Arizona got a touchdown. But outside of that, Cliff Kingsbury's offense did nothing against the Seattle defense, which prior to that, not great. So
No.
you are correct, sir.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And just a heads up, don't anybody tell Kyler Murray that the new Call of Duty is coming out this week. So nobody tell him that's coming out this week. And hey, yeah, one thing I got at one, I wouldn't say performance, but I would say one notable event that happened this week, if you want to call it that, during the Panthers Rams game, was Robbie Anderson getting into it with
Oh yeah,
with the interim head coach, and he being
Steve
escorted to the
Wilkes.
locker room. And then less than 12 hours, a little bit more than 12 hours later, he was traded to Arizona. after they learned Hollywood Brown was going to be out for the season.
Yeah.
So change of scenery. He's like, hey, I was like, wow, that was fast.
Yeah, that was really quick. I don't know what's happened to Robbie Anderson the last few. He was one of the few playmakers that the Jets had, and then Panthers signed him to this contract, and he's now part of it's been quarterback play down there, but you can't pin it all on that. He just never seemed to fit in Carolina.
You know what it was is that the Yankees, not the Yankees, the for the Jets, Robbie Anderson was wide receiver one by default because that's how bad this offense was for such a long time.
Yeah,
He was a wide receiver one masquerading as a wide receiver two or three. And he parlayed it into a long-term deal with a 4-year deal with Carolina. And God bless him for doing that, but I think it's just something's got
what
to
do you
be
think?
something's got to change in Arizona for real. And actually, you know what? For Kyler Murray's benefit, he's got a new playing partner in Call of Duty now. So
Yeah. Well, and Hopkins returns this week, I believe. They'll be playing Thursday night against the Saints. So who knows? Maybe they can get a squad going on Call of Duty, to
yep.
get their nice frag fest going.
Well, we got some more comments in the comments section brought to you by intheclutch.com. Use code NOCREDS for 10% off your order. Snowman checking in. Yankees win. The Yankees win. And then now have to play tomorrow night in Houston. And I'll
No.
give my opinion about the schedule for the ALDS in just a moment. Josh Mailer, Kyler had over 100 yards rushing. Seems like he tried to put the team on his back, but he's not big enough to hold all that weight. Ooh,
Oh
shade,
man.
shade.
Yeah, that's some spicy
That's some major league shade. Josh, well done. Well done
that's
with the
some
pun.
cold lotion going out there right there.
And then Snowman responds, no Kyler talk. Well, Snowman, it's my show. I'll talk about Kyler.
We
So
can.
last but not least, from NFL Week 6, our hottest individual take of the week. And um Dustin, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to start with you. What's your hottest individual take after
Well,
week 6?
I kind of teased it, but I just really Tom Brady needs to learn to start taking some responsibility for his own play, and not. It always seems to be something. Now, I know in New England, he didn't really. You saw him blow up on the sidelines every once in a while, but in post game comments and everything, Belichick always had everything locked down. Everybody talks
Mhm.
about the Patriot way, and it's a real thing over there. Nothing gets out of that locker room, and if it does, Belichick punishes you for it.
Yeah.
But geez, Tom Brady, first he's side eyeing Byron Leftwich. Next, he's ripping into his offensive line. He's smashing tablets. It's a good thing that Microsoft is an official sponsor of the NFL because he could probably just get another one. But
Tom Brady's probably an Apple guy anyway.
he's just, it seems like he probably is. He probably is. He loves the logo or something.
Yeah.
He probably has like 6 iPads. But anyway, it just seems like it's never his fault. No matter what happens, I see him out there. He underthrows a ball and he kind of looks at Mike Evans like, he's got that like baffled look on his face. Or if it's a clean sack, he gets up. He's telling the official, "Hey, I was rough there." It just seems. Now I know you alluded to it earlier. He's got some things going on in his personal life, but you and I both know at any job you're not supposed to bring your personal life into work. You're not and this is what Tom Brady does for a living. And I know that we're all human, we all have flaws, but stop playing the blame game, Tom Brady. You're the quarterback. The quarterback's responsibility is to take some blame even when it's not necessarily your fault. Bring your team together. Maybe try saying, "Hey, O-line, we gotta pick it up. Let me know how I can help to do that." And I get it. I like the competitive fire. I like that he's getting frustrated, but take some responsibility for your own actions.
Well said. Well said. Yep.
Thank
my hottest my hottest individual take of the week, and I'm pretty sure I speak for most of America when I say this, but the Denver Broncos should not be on prime time ever
man.
again in 2022. This team, and I'm sure Broncos fans will agree, sucks on ice.
Oh,
They
yeah.
suck on
Oh,
ice.
it's terrible. I mean, and I look, I get his exit from Seattle wasn't the best. Things have come out, but I chided the fans for being bitter on my inaugural show here. But man, it is the Broncos just look broken. And let me
Look,
say, they've been on prime time, what, 3 times?
5 times.
5 times. Okay.
Five
Yes.
times.
Okay. 4 of those times, no lie, because that's right. They were week 1, and my Seahawks got the improbable victory there.
Mm-hmm.
4 of those times, I have fallen asleep during the Broncos games. Now, I do not. I, I usually don't. I usually can stay up for football. You
Oh
know, I'm a bit of a
gosh.
night owl, but these Broncos, the Broncos Colts game, fell asleep. The Chargers Broncos game fell asleep. I did not see Dustin Hopkins winning field goal. I saw some of the other ones, and
Oh
I'm just like,
god.
man, what is going on? And for the first half last night, Russell Wilson looked a bit like Russell Wilson, but then it just, oh man, they can't figure it out. And then they bench
No.
Melvin Gordon. This is crazy.
Oh, I think Melvin Gordon's get on his way out.
Oh yeah,
Honestly,
yeah,
and I said in our preview, I said at the beginning of the season, I said the Buffalo Bills need one specific position, and as much as they like Singletary, they need
yeah,
they have a running back by committee, and
yes.
there's two names I keep hearing for the Buffalo Bills. CMC Christian
Oh
McCaffrey,
wow, wow.
and now I'm thinking Melvin Gordon's on his way out as well. But this
Yeah.
offense is just disgusting. Is to put it lightly. This offense, I don't know if it's Nathaniel Hackett's system or Russell Wilson has had it or he's done.
Yeah.
But I mean, their defense is good. Don't get me wrong. Their
Yes.
defense is
Their
good.
defense played well.
I am certain that they'll give the Jets fits next week when they play on the national TV. And by the way, they'll also be the feature game on on Sunday national television. Hopefully not, but I looked at the schedule. I looked at their schedule, like the NFL schedule for the rest of the season. They only have one primetime game. They do have one primetime game left. This Denver Broncos team, and that's in week I think 14 on December 11th on NBC. And I am praying that the football gods will mercifully flex this game out.
Yeah,
And
you need
I
that
know
flex
of one
schedule.
game. I know of one specific game that they could flex it out for. If the Jets and the Bills are still winning games by the time week 14 comes around, the Jets go to travel to Buffalo, and that should be the flex. I think they travel to Buffalo, or it's going to be at MetLife. I can't remember which one it is, but regardless, that should be your flex game right there. Because that if the Jets and the Bills are 1-2 in the AFC East at that time, and this game is going to be the decider for the AFC East title,
Yeah, that would be a good
flex it
one to
out.
flex in.
Because
Oh yeah.
flex it out
No, because
because
who is Denver playing in that game? The Chiefs? I'm trying to.
Denver is playing. Let me check because it's a 1 o'clock game for CBS. Denver and the Jets don't have a lot of 4 o'clock or primetime games this year. They have one primetime game. It's a Thursday night game right before Christmas. They play the Jaguars.
Oh, that'll be a nice present for you. You get to
They
watch your
play.
Jets in prime time.
Hey, I have that entire week off and the 26th, so I might go down and see. I might go down and see
Oh
them.
man, you go
But
down. Yeah.
the Broncos play the Chiefs,
Yep. Yep.
which
See, I thought.
by then the division might be clinched
Yeah. Yeah. It
unless
very
the
much.
Raiders somehow come back and
And I get
kind
it.
of.
I get it. Like slightly in the NFL's defense on this one, the scheduling committee. you thought that that was going to be an absolute gem of a game to have late in the season because you thought the AFC West, there was going to be some implications. You thought that Russell Wilson going to the Broncos
Yeah.
was going to be a home run, and man, it's been anything but
Yeah.
that.
This division has been. I thought all four teams could possibly be contender. Like they could all
Yeah,
be either in contention for a division or be a wild card contender. And right now, only Kansas City is shining out of that division. And
yeah, because the Chargers are
the
underperforming.
Chargers are worrisome on offense, especially because they're not running the ball enough.
Yes, yes, it's not balanced, and also Justin Herbert, he's clearly, I think that injury is affecting him,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yep.
and some of their receivers, it's just they have the talent, and this is one of the things, bit of a sidebar, but I wanted to ask you about this. I feel like the Chargers, there are some teams that on paper you look at them and you say they should be very good. But the
Mhm.
Chargers, and no offense to any LA fans or former San Diego fans out there, going back to the Philip Rivers era, going back to the era with LaDainian Tomlinson, the Chargers would have either these barn burner regular seasons and then they would get bounced in the playoffs. Now, a couple of those were to the Patriots, and the Patriots are beating everybody back then. But it just seems like there's almost something in the culture of the San Diego Chargers team that they just don't quite get to the level that you think they're going to be. And it transcends coaching staffs and different regimes. I don't know what it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, there's 11 more weeks to figure this out,
Yep.
and we're by the time we get to December, I'm pretty sure there will be lots more discussions. I mean, actually, we've had one firing so far with coaches in the NFL. We had Matt Rule being
Yep.
dismissed, and rightfully so. His it's another college coach who unfortunately cannot coach in the
Did
NFL,
not did not
and
translate.
I happen to think, and I could be wrong. I got a good buddy who lives in Nebraska. I think Rule could be Nebraska's next head coach, but they're starting to believe in Mickey Joseph out there. So I think Joseph probably earned himself a contract extension. We're gonna go back to the comment section again, brought to you by intheclutch.com. Use the promo code NOCREDS at checkout for 10% off your order. Snowman chimes in. He says, "I hope LeBron and the Lakers get obliterated tonight." We're not a basketball podcast. We don't really cover basketball. I'm not as much of a basketball fan as I used to be, and uh, I primarily watch Snowman because he and Cole Johnson, they know their basketball.
Mhm.
And that's one of the primary reasons why I check in and watch the show. And I'm not a big Lakers fan, but I'm not a fan of LeBron James. I think people try to compare, especially the younger fans, they try to compare him to Jordan and say he's better than Jordan, but
Yeah, but
I find him annoying.
I get that. I get that. There are aspects of LeBron that are, I can see why people find him annoying. I find all the Jordan comparisons annoying. Um, why can't we just let now Jordan, he's the GOAT.
Yep.
He's probably always going to be the GOAT, but the thing is too, I find that too many people do discount LeBron's greatness because of some of his because they don't agree with him moving teams or but he is a phenomenal player. There is no and he is playing very well at what is considered an advanced age in the NBA. I, like
Yeah.
you, do not follow the NBA all that much. I do tune in to watch my Mavs sometimes, who seem to, they go from Dirk Nowitzki to Luka Doncic. Maybe they
Yep.
got a type, but it's working out. But just if you want to up your basketball education, read the Book of Basketball by Bill Simmons. It was a great
Mm,
book, very entertaining.
yep.
But yeah, that's where our NBA talk is going to pretty much stop on this show.
Yeah. Unless something noteworthy comes out, but we'll check in every once in a while with the NBA talk. He also says, "Well, wait till I talk Broncos tomorrow. I'll definitely be listening." And Josh Miller chimes in again. Are the Eagles actually that good? I think so.
Yeah, I would say
I believe they do. They
I
are.
would say they are. I mean, they took down the Cowboys. The Cowboys are. I eat my words here, but the Cowboys are managing to look pretty good with Cooper Rush at quarterback. I
Mm,
think that Ezekiel Elliott contract is just going to get worse as the years go on. I don't think,
yeah.
to my eyes, he doesn't have much left. But they have a defense down there. But the Eagles are undefeated, and
Yeah.
they've managed. It doesn't they're not obliterating teams, but you don't have to do that. All that
No.
matters is that you win in big
Yep.
games and you win late. And I think the more that they do that, they're going to get that experience, and it's only going to breed confidence. I think the Eagles are for real, 100%.
Yeah. If they are, they're definitely for real. I also think they're the most complete team in the NFL as well.
Yeah.
Running offense, defense. They got great defense with Fletcher Cox and Darius Slay, and they also have a good offense. Jalen Hurts, they can run the ball with Miles Sanders. They can also run with Jalen Hurts too. He's a good quarterback
Yeah.
in terms of that too. If he needs to get out of the pocket and scramble and get some yardage, he can do that. But I think they're the most complete team in the NFL right now, and they
Yeah.
are. I believe they are for real.
And
In fact, 3 out of the 4 teams in that division
yes.
are very good.
Yes, it's become one of the most competitive divisions in football after being a
Yeah,
laughing stock for a lot of years.
yeah,
And this is unbelievable. And to your point, I think the Eagles on offense, they in effect they have two number one wideouts. So you want to double AJ Brown, fine, they'll throw it to Devonta Smith, vice versa. They have an embarrassment of riches right now.
yeah, yeah. That entire division is stacked right now. The NFC beast is back. And we got one more comment before we get a message from one of our partners at Godzilla Media, Kevin Wilson, fantasy sports extraordinaire at Belly Up Sports, says that was an impressive response by the Eagles after the Cowboys cut the league 2017. Yeah, yeah, this
Mhm.
team is complete, and yeah, I think they have the I think right now they're definitely the team to beat in the NFC. And if I had my druthers, I'd pick them as the NFC representative in the Super Bowl in Arizona, in Phoenix, or Glendale, in February.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still early, but if I had to pick right now, I'd agree with you. It's certainly not the Rams like we thought it was going to be.
Oh, that team looks just. We might have to do a
They
bonus episode on which team is the looks the oldest. And right now it's between the Packers, the Buccaneers, and the Rams.
Yeah, that's
That
pretty.
that team looks old.
Yes, and it just as I was explaining to my boss, we were talking a little football earlier this week. I said it looks like with the Rams, the wheels just fell off all at once. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like sometimes you're going and you're going and one of the wheels starts to wobble, but you can like hang on for a little bit. No, all the tires are off the Rams car right now.
Yeah,
It's,
they
it's
don't they don't
it's
have
not
a
good.
first round draft pick again until 2024.
Yeah, they went all
I mean,
in.
Les went all in. Les went all in. Les and McVay went all in, and it's right now it's dicey at
And
best.
they're saying publicly that they want to trade Cam Akers. Just a year ago, he looked like a year and change ago, he looked like a real piece for them. And now, poor guy has the audacity to tear his ACL, and then they're like, we're looking to ship you out. Would you
Oh,
do if you were the Broncos and the Rams? Would you do a Melvin Gordon for Cam Akers straight up? I mean,
I
they're
don't
both
know. That's a very good question.
Yeah, I mean, they're both running backs that seemingly have fallen out of favor. I don't know. Maybe a change of scenery would do both of them well.
It's possible. It's possible. All right, so we're going to move on from our NFL wrap up, but before we move on to a little bit of Major League Baseball and some pro wrestling talk on this
Yes.
program, I'm looking forward to that. we got to talk about one of our partners at Godzilla Media, and that is Mohawk Honda. Crisp morning air, pumpkin muffins, pumpkin lattes, Ugg boots. Oh, wait, no, that's if you're a basic white chick. Beautiful foliage. Just like that, it's fall, and the seasons may change, but the one constant, it's a buying experience at Mohawk Honda where you are greeted with a smile and treated with respect. And who doesn't want that? The new inventory is ramping up too with pilots, passports, and Ridgelines. The 2023 models are in. And remember, this is the best time ever to sell your vehicle. Mohawk Honda buys cars, and in some cases, you may be able to sell it for more than you paid for it. It's just another advantage you get from the number one volume dealer in the capital region. General Manager Greg Johnson and his team of sales consultants are always available to help you in the buying experience, the buying process. And they have big news. Scott Monahan, he's back with Mohawk Honda. He brings his 30 plus years of automotive experience with him. Stop in, welcome Scott back home. You can also welcome my guy, Evans Whalen. He got me into the loving arms of a 2016 Honda HRV. Yes, the season's changed, but at Mohawk Honda on Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia and online at mohawkhonda.com, we go out of our way to please you. So we're going to do a preview-ish of the League Championship Series. And yeah,
Do I
our
want
picks
to?
for do we want to?
After the way the picks went,
I mean, at least I think we both got I got the ALCS right. I said Houston and the Yankees would move on. I thought the Yankees would win in a sweep or they win in 4. I did not expect them to go 5. And also with this topsy-turvy schedule, which I'm going to go on a rant on in just a moment, and they have to play tomorrow. God almighty. But yeah, our National League divisional series, our picks did not work out at all, and that was not expected.
No, no. It's man, I really thought the Dodgers would be there, but hey, credit to the Padres for taking them out. And you did warn that the Phillies were an absolute buzzsaw, and
Yeah.
they proved it. So,
Yeah, and I want to read one quote from a certain Padre named Manny Machado, who said
oh Manny.
after the game on Saturday night when when the Padres took out the Dodgers, he said, "quote There's no better feeling than this, man. We're here. We're going to the National League Championship Series. We beat one of the best teams in baseball. We beat the Mets as well."
Wow. That's
The
that's some
disrespect.
yeah, that he came off the top rope. He
He
came off the top
did.
rope on the Mets on
He
that
did.
one.
He did a Randy Savage top rope elbow
The
drop.
elbow, man.
And again, we got Kevin Johnson, fantasy sports writer extraordinaire. Dodgers are sorry. That is all. I compare the Dodgers, the 2010 and the 2020s Dodgers, to the 90s and 2000s Braves, where they won all those
Yeah.
division
Mhm.
titles. They went to the World Series a couple times, and they came out with one World Series title in 1995, and the Dodgers had that one World Series title in 2020. I think this team is. I think. Do you think they need a managerial change? Do you think Dave Roberts they need to move on from Dave Roberts?
Yeah, I mean, he's been there a long time now,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's proven that it happens, that players just become tired of the same message. There becomes a point where they just stop buying in. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, with the Dodgers doing as well as they do in the regular and as they did in the regular season, you can't say that he's lost the team. I wouldn't go
No,
that far,
no.
but there's definitely maybe they need a spark because they have the talent, they have the players, and Clayton Kershaw, it's been documented in his past. He has struggled in the postseason a little bit for whatever
Yeah.
reason. When he gets to the playoffs, it seems to change a little bit for him. But you
Hmm.
might be onto something. I mean, it might just be time for both Dave Roberts and the Dodgers to move on because if the Dodgers did let Dave Roberts go, there would be another team that would line up to take him as
Yeah.
their manager right away.
Yeah. And I got a little bit of a rant. Oh, Kevin Wilson, Braves Dodgers comparison is a good one. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
High compliment from you, my friend. Pretty appreciate that compliment. Let's get him back on the show sometime. Maybe for the World Series. Try to get him on the show for the World Series once the World Series teams have been decided. But I got to go on a little bit of a rant in terms of the divisional series schedule, especially for the American League, because all four series were played on Tuesday. Four games right in a row. Great time. But then the American League Series took a pause on Wednesday and they tried to play Thursday. Yankees were rained out
Yeah.
and Houston and Seattle still played. They were rained out till Friday. Then they're supposed to play 4 games in a row. And Monday's game was rained out. And I just gotta say that I partially understand the reasons why, because the ALDS was being played on TBS and the NLDS was being played on Fox One. Why? And I believe on Wednesdays TBS has All Elite Wrestling, and TNT they were starting the NHL season because the NHL season started last week. NHL was on TNT, so I understand the scheduling conflict there. But Turner has other stations they could have had these games on. I believe True TV is one of those.
Yes.
Is Turner station.
Mhm.
Trying to remember which other stations are Turner.
Well, I
But
I I can't think, but
I can't understand why the scheduling was just whack.
yeah, I agree with you because look no further than March Madness. They're putting
Yeah.
games all over for that. They've got
Yep.
games on TBS, TNT, True TV, and some other crazy They
CBS was
always
the other one. Yeah.
they always figure out a way.
Yeah. I'm shocked that he couldn't try to put on ESPN on Wednesday night because Major League Baseball has a contract with ESPN. So
Mhm.
I don't understand the pause and the Wednesday coverage. They could have put both games on during the day, which would have been optimal. And I know they couldn't have foreseen a rainout in New York,
Yeah, yeah.
and they continue their play in Houston because they have the retractable roof. Seattle also has a retractable roof, but I I I'm just really I'm so confused by how the schedule played out. And now the Yankees, after clinching this round, have to go to Houston. Basically, have to take a shower, get on
Yep.
an airplane,
In the right
go to
place.
Houston, check in their hotels at 4 a.m., and then be ready to play that night against Houston.
Yeah, it does no favors, and like you said, there's always going to be unforeseen circumstances, but this is part of your job as the schedulers is to figure these things out. Now, I
Yep.
know there was some sort of documentary, or maybe it was an E60 on the people that put together the major league schedule for the regular season, and it was just like a married couple did it, and the amount of math that they did to get it was amazing. Now
Yeah.
I had never thought that much would go into it, but I think if I'm not mistaken, and I'm just doing this all off of memory, so I could be wrong, but I think that those two retired because I think they were
Mhm.
older, and I think that either different people were doing the scheduling or maybe it's computers now. I mean, I don't know how it's done now, but you got to account for these things, especially
Yeah.
for the playoffs.
Yep.
Especially for the playoffs. I can get that the regular season gets a little crazy. You got 162 different games to worry about, but once you get down to the playoffs, you got to do what's best and so that both teams get a chance to rest up, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm perplexed as to they could have put it on True TV instead of TBS or TNT. And I get it. You have commitments to the NHL, you have commitments to AEW, but you could have found a way. You could have played both those games during, like I said, you could have played both those games during the day, or you could
Mhm.
have put your coverage on True TV. So I'm just really Ugh, I hate it. I hate it. And Kevin says baseball schedulers are stupid. It's like they're determined to play in November and have a game snowed out. There had been, I think I remember in 1997 the game was snowed out. Cleveland against they actually had to play 5 games in a row because one of those games had snow. I can't, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. That was a memorable series right there. All right, so we're gonna move on from baseball. We've had enough with baseball. We're gonna move on to some pro wrestling, which is
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe it's the first time we've talked about pro wrestling, either myself or now with Dustin. We're talking about pro wrestling for the first time, but it's not just pro wrestling, current pro wrestling. We're
No.
talking about the Vice documentary, The Dark Side of the Ring, which I enjoyed. I love those.
Oh, man.
I love
That
those
series.
stories. And unfortunately, they canceled the regular Dark Side of the Ring, but now they're bringing back Tales from the Territories. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I've only seen one episode. They haven't had the other episodes on Hulu just yet. But I watched the one that was offered on YouTube, talking about Mid South Wrestling and
Memphis.
the
Yeah.
Memphis Wrestling.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the Memphis
thank you. But
territory. Yeah.
Memphis territory. But Dustin, you've watched this more than I have. I want to say what's your impression of the series currently, and what have you seen, and what are you looking forward to? I can't remember what the next one is, but I think it's Championship Wrestling Florida where Hulk Hogan was. But what have you seen so far? What's your impression?
Oh, man.
And
I just to first start off, I initially was baffled as to why Vice would have canceled Dark Side of the Ring.
because Vince
Um
McMahon, that's why.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah, probably I wouldn't, but you know what? It is funny because then I found out, okay, they're bringing Tales from the Territories. It's the new show. The Rock's a producer on it.
Yep.
You know, that might have helped. Um, but
Yeah.
man, these guys really know how to produce wrestling stories, and I know that you keep up with current product more than I do. I really
I
don't
dabble. I
keep up with
dabble.
current product. Yeah, I mean, I guess I dabble every once in a while too. But this series is hitting the sweet spot,
Yeah.
because I love hearing stories about wrestling eras gone by, and I was not around for the territories
Neither was
days,
I. No.
or if I was around, I was very, very, very small. But um, these this is amazing. I mean, I couldn't believe some of the stuff that was happening.
Oh
There's
my
a story
gosh.
on the first episode. Jimmy Hart gets hit with a blow dart,
Yeah.
a homemade blow
That's a
dart
great story.
that these guys. And then Lawler tells a story about I think the first episode was called Memphis, where wrestling was
Yep.
real,
Yep.
and these Lawler's telling a story. He comes out. This guy's getting ready to throw a brick through his window. Lawler says, "If you throw that brick through my window, I'm going to run you down." And the guy throws the brick, smashes Lawler's windshield. He says,
Yeah.
"In that moment, I saw red. I was going to run this guy down. Put my car into gear, and it starts bouncing." He got out. The guy had slashed all four of his tires. This is, and I'm not even, I didn't, we told two stories. We're not spoiling. I would highly
No.
recommend this series. I bought it without seeing a single
Oh
minute
wow.
of the episodes. I
Okay.
bought it on Amazon. And the
Wow.
beauty of buying it on Amazon is the next day I get an email notification saying the new episode is available. Ryan, if you haven't seen episode 2 yet, it is a treat. It is kind of a continuation of the
Hmm.
Memphis days, but this talks about the Jerry the King Lawler and Andy Kaufman saga, the whole thing that they set up there.
Yeah. As show mascot Tagalong makes his weekly appearance on the show. Yeah, I remember the story of Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman. I was a young pup at that time, but I remember watching the movie Man on the Moon,
Hmm. Yes.
the biopic of Andy Kaufman, played by Jim Carrey, and Jerry Lawler was in that movie.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And what you didn't know, and if you haven't watched Man on the Moon and you're a wrestling fan, and I won't spoil it for you, but we kind of know the story behind it right now. Like when they were on Letterman, and you saw Kaufman get slapped by Jerry Lawler, you thought, oh man, this is real. Like this is real.
Yeah.
This is actually happening. Like this is before we knew pro wrestling was choreographed. It was
Mhm.
choreographed. It was scripted. We didn't know that back then, but they made it seem real. And then after the movie, they had Lawler's match, and they had Lawler's match with Kaufman, and Kaufman with the lady wrestlers. And the next scene, you see Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler shaking hands, and that blew my mind. Seeing that 20 plus, a little over 20 years later, because you thought they actually had beef. Like you
Well,
actually thought they had actual real beef, but
yeah.
it turns out they were really good friends outside of wrestling.
They were, and they kind of get into it, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but they talk about the respect that Andy Kaufman had for the business of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
They get into it in great detail, and I think there'll be
Yeah,
some surprises in there
and
for you.
that kind of carried into his act on the stage too, because you didn't know if he was being real or if he was just
Yeah.
having a rib with you, or if he was actually just was being real. Like you didn't
Mhm.
know what was what. It was just it was. I mean, you didn't know, and he kind of broke the fourth wall in that man. I'm using a cliche here, but he totally those guys broke the fourth wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
They blurred reality and
It was
just
way ahead of its time, too,
yeah,
way ahead of its time, and
yep,
that and I side note too, I recommend if you haven't seen Man on the Moon yet, that to me is
that's a
an
good movie.
underrated movie.
Yep, and
I might
who knew
go.
that Courtney Love could act?
Yeah, yeah, that was, she had a little time in the '90s there with that movie, and then,
Hmm.
The People versus Larry Flint, she was also in that.
Yeah,
Did a good job as well,
yeah,
but yeah.
that was a good movie. Yeah, definitely check that out. But yeah, I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna see if I can get. I don't know when they're gonna put more episodes of. They're gonna put episodes of Tales from the Territories on Hulu, but I'm definitely have to check it out. I know that they put a clip of the last episode of episode 2 on YouTube with Lawler and Kaufman. I'll have
Oh,
to check that
yeah.
out. But it's
No,
definitely
that'll be a good one.
if you used to watch pro wrestling, or you are a pro wrestling fan now, like I said, I kind of dabble. I watch the review shows on YouTube with What Culture, Simon Miller, Ups and Downs. Simon Miller, if you're watching this, give it. I know you're watching right now. Give this an up. Give this a like. Give us an up.
Yeah.
Give our show an up. But no, definitely if you like, or you just like story in general. If you're a
Yes.
sports fan and you love hearing stories from what was happening back in the day, this is definitely the docu series for you.
Oh, yeah, all 100%, and while we're at it, I'd recommend Dark Side of the Ring as well.
Yes. Yep.
Kinda has a different feel than this,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they've done a great job. If you're a fan of Dark Side of the Ring and you're coming to this, it's not exactly like Dark Side of the Ring, it's its own thing, it's different, but you're gonna love both of them. And,
Yep.
man, wrestlers are great storytellers. They
They
really are.
absolutely are.
They really are.
I follow a wrestler who is originally who lived in New York. He was originally from New York. He was an All American wrestler in New York. He wrestled, I believe, at the University of Alabama. I can't remember. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He's originally
Oh,
from the
yeah.
area.
He's from
Uh,
Glens Falls, is he
he's from
not?
Glens Falls. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
where he hailed from when he was in the ring. He hailed from Glens Falls, New York. But I'm gonna try to seek him out and get him on an episode, a special episode of No Credentials Required. It'd be great to
Oh,
have
yeah.
guys who are local
Fantastic.
wrestlers. There's a couple of guys who used to wrestle, who were wrestlers, like actually still active wrestlers. They're currently active wrestlers who live in the area. Bobby Fish, he's with Impact right now. Trying to remember who else. Matt Riddle. He was born in Niskayuna.
Mhm.
He's in WWE, and I can't remember what was it. I think Dalton Castle. He wrestles for Ring of Honor. He was one-time world champion at Ring of Honor. He, I believe, is also from the area. So, there's lots of different wrestlers who have come from the area, and I think, if I remember correctly, the Pro International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame is in Schenectady.
I think you're right about that. If it's not now, it was at one time. I
Yeah.
remember because I remember being shocked by that. It's
Yeah.
just like the the soccer Hall of Fame is in Oneonta, New York,
Oneonta.
of
No,
all
actually,
places.
I think they moved it though. I think they moved it from
Oh, did they find?
I think they
Yeah,
moved it to Dallas, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. I'll double check that, but
yeah.
yeah,
I
this
think you're
was a it's definitely have to see if we can get some pro wrestlers on. Maybe get my buddy Mac Falvo, who's a PA announcer, but he's also a wrestling buff. He'll tell you some stories. He also participates in various wrestling, independent wrestling
Oh, nice.
organizations. Let's get him on. I'll have him tell some stories. But we're gonna wrap things up here at No Credentials Required. Dustin, give the people a reminder about your Extra Life fundraiser coming up.
All right. Well, I will be streaming and playing games for 24 hours, hopefully on Saturday, November 5th. It is the official game day for a charity that I'm participating with. It's called Extra Life. It's a charity event. I am playing to raise money for local children who are sick. I am raising money for the Bernard and Millie Duker Children's Hospital at Albany Med. This will be, I believe, my 5th year doing this. I'm very excited. Still getting things set up. Still trying to get ready for it. And swing on by and donate if you can. If you've got some extra money, I'd love to have some money go to some sick kids in the area that need our help.
Yep.
And I've got a Facebook fundraiser. If you're Facebook friends with me, if not, I'll be swing by Twitch at El Dusto 67 on game day, and you can get more information from me there. Ryan's got the link below, and hope to see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more comment from the comment section. Our buddy Dave. Hey, Fry Guy. Hey, Dave. Sorry about your Packers, but not really. Sorry, not sorry.
And Orion, I understand that you've got a new podcast that you just launched. Can you
Yes,
tell people what it's about and where to grab it?
absolutely. So this week I launched Have Another Donut. It's a New Jersey Devils podcast. I launched my inaugural episode on Monday. I'm going to try to have new episodes on Monday at 11:11 a.m. So it's a very unique time to release a podcast, but it'll be kind of out of the way of other notifications. So no, it's about New Jersey Devils hockey. This week I talked about my individual fandom as a New Jersey Devils fan. Talked about their connection to the capital region. I talked about the first 2 games of the season. They're actually losing again right now as we speak. Um, I also give my 5 bold predictions for the New Jersey Devils this season. So we're going to plan to have more interviews with bloggers, different podcast hosts, try to get former New Jersey Devils in the podcast. I have some connections with former Albany Devils,
Awesome.
who I was their chaplain for a number of seasons with the Albany Devils. So I'm going to try to get some of those guys on the air and just chop it up about Devils hockey. I'm also do some loose coverage here and there of the Utica Comets and the Adirondack Thunder up on Glens Falls. So I'll do some loose coverage of those 2 teams right there because they're also feed into the New Jersey Devils system. So I'm going to be bringing that to you, and hopefully check it out when the new episodes drop on Monday on your podcast side. I'm still trying to get the links up for iTunes or for Apple Podcasts, excuse me. Google Play is currently up. I believe Amazon Music is up, Spotify. But whatever you find, just search for Have Another Donut, and you should be able to subscribe. The video edition will also be on Godzilla Media's YouTube channel. It'll be uploaded every Monday morning. So
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect. Are you telling me that there's a chance that you could get Brian Gianta on the show? That would be amazing.
it would be amazing. Actually, that would be amazing. A former New
Yes,
Jersey
it would
Devil
be.
who was
Yes.
yeah, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, I'll definitely have to schedule those out and get those try to get some former Albany Devils or former New Jersey Devils or guys who have played in both Albany and New Jersey. That would be very that'd be fun. It'd be a great interview.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna end things here at No Credentials Required. As always, check out our Twitter and Instagram and TikTok at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. Also, hit the like button, like and follow on YouTube. Also, again, a smash that like button. That'll be very helpful. Engage with us during and after the program, during the show, during and after the show. You can engage with us, and on the podcast side, subscribe. Speakers are home base, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, whichever platform you listen to, and leave a rating. 5 stars is always preferred. And if you leave a review or a comment that makes me laugh, I might even read it on the air. So, for Dustin Henry, hey, twice in a row.
There you go.
For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thank you so much for watching No Credentials Required and listening to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, have a great night. Enjoy whatever sport you're watching. And we'll be back next week to wrap things up for NFL Week 7, along with other things. So,
good night,
thanks again.
everybody.
Have a great night.